Good morning, students. Let us begin the same topic, the rat trap. And now let us continue the passage from here. To go along up to the manor house and be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade. Comrade means your companion. That, however, did not please the tramp. No, I couldn't think of it, he said, looking quite alarmed. He thought of the 30 kroner. To go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. He only wanted a chance to sleep here in the forge and then sneak away as inconspicuously as possible. Some meanings are: manor house means a large country house, comrade means a fellow soldier, alarmed means a frightened, inconspicuously means invisible or which is not noticeable. Explanation of the above passage is: the rat trap seller didn't find it to be a good idea to visit the ironmaster's place. He was frightened with the idea of visiting to the large house of an old soldier, which according to him was not safe. After all, he had the stolen money with him. He didn't want to put himself in danger. His intentions were to sleep in the forge and then go away from there without even being noticed. The ironmaster assumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. Please don't think that I have such a fine home that you cannot show yourself there. He said, Elizabeth is dead. As you may already have heard, my boys are abroad and there is no one at home except my oldest daughter and myself. We were just saying that it was too bad we didn't have any company for Christmas. Now come along with me and help us make the Christmas food disappear a little faster. So these are the lines from the textbook. The ironmaster was aware of his friend's miserable condition, so he tried to make him comfortable by saying that he should feel free to come his home as his home was an ordinary one. He told him that his wife was no more and added that he must be aware of this. Then he let him know that both his sons were settled abroad. Only he and his daughter were left at home. He invited him to celebrate Christmas with his family so that he and his daughter may have some good company at the Christmas feast. So, this is the explanation of the above passage. Now, further passage is from the textbook. But the stranger said no and no and again no, and the ironmaster saw that he must give in. It looks as though Captain von Stalin preferred to stay with you tonight, said Strom. He said to the master blacksmith and turned on his heel. Though the ironmaster made many attempts to invite him, the peddler didn't accept his invitation. So at last he says to the blacksmith, St. Strom, that it seemed that Captain von Stalin, means peddler, wanted to stay with him in the forge. So this is the explanation of the above passage. Further lines are: but he laughed to himself as he went away, and the blacksmith who knew him understood very well that he had not said his last word. Then he laughed and went away, but the blacksmith knew that he was hiding something. It was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheels outside the forge, and a new guest came in, but this time it was not the ironmaster. He had sent his daughter, apparently hoping that she would have better powers of persuasion than he himself. Explanation is: after a gap of half an hour, the ironmaster sent his daughter. He hoped that his daughter may bring his friend home as he believed that she was better in persuading others. So you can see that the girls are really having the strong power of persuasion, means convincing power. She means here Iron Master's daughter, and her name is Edla will mention. You will get to know further. She entered, followed by a valet. Valet means here the attendant, steward, or servant, carrying on his arm a big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but seemed modest and quite shy. Dear students, in this paragraph, you will get to know about the character sketch of Edla will mention. So, just underline all the facts, all the important lines regarding the character sketch of Edla will mention. In the forge, everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench, and iron and charcoal still glowed in the furnace. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of big iron under his head and his hat pulled down over his eyes. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. Some meanings are: valet means personal attendant, modest means humble, apprentice means learner. Explanation of the above passage is: the ironmaster's daughter entered the mill with her attendant, who was carrying a big fur coat. She was a humble girl who was very shy. When she entered, everyone was busy the same way as they had been earlier. The blacksmith was still sitting on the bench with his trainees and was working on the iron. She went up to the peddler and lifted his hat. The peddler slept with one eye open, and as soon as he saw her, he got shocked and jumped up. Further lines are: my name is Edla Wilmanson, said the young girl. My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the forest tonight, and then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. I am so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time. So, with these words, we can get to know that Edla Wilmanson is really a very humble natured girl, and she is quite uh, convincing to others. Score means here high English board exams. Okay. She introduced herself as Edla Wilmanson and was sorry to hear about the hard times that he was facing. She explained to him that she had come to take him home with her father's permission. So you can say that these lines are showing Edla Wilmanson was very convincing by nature, and she was very obedient, because at the time of the night, even when father asked her to go to bring his familiar person, so without having hesitation, she went away straightly. So this shows that she was really an obedient child. Further lines from the textbook are: she looked at him compassionately, means full of love, affection, with her heavy eyes, means with her serious looks, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. Either he has stolen something or else he has escaped from jail, she thought, and added quickly, you may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve. Compassionately means showing sympathy for others. Compassion. Okay. Explanation of the above passage is: Edla had sympathy for the peddler, but then she noticed that the reason behind his fear could be that either he had committed robbery or jailbreak. So she said that he was free to leave their house at any time, but she wanted him to stay with the family just for Christmas Eve. So these lines show that Edla Wilmanson is really a good-natured lady, and she is a very good observer of human nature. As she observed that the man either has stolen something or even he has been escaped from the jail. So she was right. Further lines from the textbook are: she said this in such a friendly manner that the rat-trap peddler must have felt confidence in her. It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss. He said, I will come at once. Edla was talking to Peddler in a very nice way, which made him believe her, and he got ready to go with her. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage without granting the astonished blacksmiths so much as a glance. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. Astonished means here greatly surprised. Forebodings means foretelling. The peddler wore the fur coat offered by the valet and started following the lady. He didn't even bother to notice the other people in the room. On the way to the house, the peddler felt that as he had committed a crime, he would be punished for it. So, thank you very much, students. Further explanations will be made in the next lecture.